Hello and welcome to the BrokeRock server. My name is Calbuster. This is episode 1 of a special series, you could say, of me as a helper on the BrokeRock server. Yeah, this is a little bit different than your usual videos of members on the server. I'm actually not a real member. Well, I am and I am not, and I am and I'm not. Welcome to this mini-series, maybe. I'm not sure really how long this is gonna last, but I do have the intention to make some episodes at least, if only just to cover the things that I've done up to this point. But yeah, so I'm here on the BrokeRock server. This is my office, I would like to call it, because as I just told you, I am actually a helper on the server. Now, that needs some explaining, and also as to how I did come to that point. But first, let's catch up. If you didn't watch last episode, which technically isn't an episode, but you could call it episode 1, is the Where Have I Been episode that got released about a week ago. And that was also recorded from here. If you've got a keen eye, I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to make any content, and yet here we are. So I stepped in this season as a helper, and I've been enjoying that really. And I've done some stuff a little bit more, I think, than a helper is really supposed to do. I'm not sure. There aren't really actually rules, other than, yeah, we're just here to assist the other BrokeRockers, and I liked doing that. And then I started doing things on my own, and that may have gotten out of hand, and then may have created a little game which has prompted me to start making content again. And we'll discuss that game in a future episode, because this episode is just catching up, which is gonna revolve about 2 things. Obviously, we're starting around here, so it would make sense in this episode 1 to just take a look in the base, I guess you could say. As I said already, I call this my office because, as I said, I was a helper, so it's all about offering my services to the other members, and that's why I decided, as a starter base of sorts, I would make a little office, which is located here in the starter village, and you may have already seen it in, especially, I think Voided and Lost has visited this place before. Well, a while back, before renovations were made. Furthermore, before we're gonna start the tour, let's discuss what I've got. I'm quite set at the moment, actually. I've got my reasonable gear. I think I got this gifted. No, I'm pretty sure I got this gifted, of all persons, by a fellow helper. Helpers assisting helpers? It doesn't make sense in my head, but yeah. They had more villagers put up, and they were apparently rocking in an overflow of armor, so they just pretty much gifted it to me, I think. Which I'm entirely grateful for them, of course, because otherwise I wouldn't have done it myself, I think. I would have still been in gold armor, pretty much. But now I've got even 2 diamond sets, so this one is the normal one, I would say. Now I've got another one which has thorns on all of these stuff. There's even a chest plate included, even though I'm oftentimes just wearing my wings as I'm now. And then we've got these tools, of course. They are all fine. I'm unsure. I think I may have done these myself. And then we've got this nice axe with some fortune on it, smite. That's a nice difference from the sharpness on the sword. And as I've got this more on me, and you naturally are coming across more zombies than any other mobs, it makes sense to have that on the axe. And they are all topped up. Well, that's actually not true. I actually need to finish this shovel, so it's lacking some final level of efficiency. So that may be something to do in this episode as well. But furthermore, this episode is really focused about showing you around my office or base and waving at Voided and Lost that just joined. So here we are in my office. It is really quite empty. I will be the first to admit it. Yeah, I hear you. It does have a bit of backroom vibes, I guess. It's just not not that bad of a ceiling, but otherwise it's so empty. But yeah, I guess functional room, no distractions really, so... You didn't design this. I'm bad at interiors, okay? We've got a wall of jobs on the side. We've got some jobs that we'll definitely be looking through the coming episodes. So take that in. I didn't actually take this one, another member did, but it was put here, so I made sure it was kept. Then we've got, of course, my desk over here with no seat at all or something. Sign asking of what the visitor wants me helping them with, because I would, of course, greet them like this. And then somebody put my head on the wall, because that's not sinister at all. And over at this side, we actually got a little momentum, because, yeah, when I first joined, I almost immediately bumped into Jax, and he was also the first one to actually give me a proper job that I could help him with. That's the first job on the board behind me. And to do that, well, I needed to gear up a little bit, or, well, not gear up, at least get some gear to get the materials with. And so I was gifted this, which is a decked out Fortune 3. Well, okay, it's lacking one efficiency, but this was early in the season as well. And then my own personal goal was to not need this pickaxe anymore, so I made my own Silk Touch and Fortune. And then I just put this one here, as I kind of intend to return it to him. If he needs it, he now knows it's right here and his to take. Let us now proceed to the outside, and you'll get an idea of where I'm actually positioned. Because right here, we've got the starter village. Wow. Third time's the charm. There we go. Yeah, here we go. We've got a starter village. Let me actually grab my spyglass for a moment, so we can have a proper look of the sun setting, of course. So there used to be a church, I think, over there. There used to be a mansion over there. And there used to be a pile of dirt over in this direction. Don't ask me what got done with that, nor why there are a bunch of sheep stacked behind me. But yeah, over in this direction on the far edge of the starting village, and as I was saying, on the edge of the starting village, right next to, besides Jack's house, of course, because, yeah, he showed me around on the first day. He suggested that I would base next to him. I've kind of outgrown the starter. I didn't intend for my base to be this big. Obviously, it turned out to be so. But it wasn't quite intentional. And I'm also not really sure of what Stala even went for. I just started placing stuff, and over here I wanted to make a little tower sort of thing, and I started placing in this cross beam. And I just started building and trying to figure out the size of the things. I was thinking of like a proper roof, like this shape. And I didn't intend it to be that big. And literally taking up half of the front. But it seems like the proportions are quite nice. At least on the towers, of course. And then this is just a roof that interconnects, and then we've got, yeah, it's quite square. It's not completely square, it's more of a rectangle to be technically correct. But it sure looks square from the outside. And then on the sides we just have this repeating pattern. You'll actually may be able to recognize this pattern already. But we'll cover it more when we discuss the nether tunnels that I've also assisted with. Yeah, for those that have already seen that in other people's episodes, that's where I got the inspiration of. And I just changed the color palette, and it turned out quite nice. I wouldn't advise making actual walls of them, because they're quite deep as well. But but yeah, it has some detail. And the lights, the sheer amount of lights on especially this side, just it doesn't really make sense. But then again, it does look okay. It does look okay. And I cannot really put a thing on what style it is. And yeah, I just made something and it turned out okay. And something else that I made today, or a few days ago, which we'll look at today, also turned out fine. So I guess I cannot complain. And I put a little bit of moss over here. I maybe intend to expand it to the other sides, because it does definitely look a little bit more nicer with the contrast of the moss. But there were some plans of some other member that wanted to do in my front lawn. Obviously didn't happen yet, but that's why I don't want to expand quite further. And then, of course, this is also, I guess you could say, my base. But where would my base be? If your guess is that I'm looking at it right now, then you're correct. And if your guess is that I can access it through these paintings in the hallway, you're definitely wrong. No, I'm kidding. It's the other painting. So yeah, my living area is actually in the ceiling. This is literally the ceiling. If I break this, there's rain in my base. Can we actually sleep through the rain yet? No, we cannot. But yeah, this is my base. This was also in the beginning, like I've renovated this place. If you hadn't noticed before, when Voided and Lost visited, it was a little bit tinier. But I also was living in the ceiling, just a little bit less headroom. I think I could fit 2 chests, and now I can fit 4, even though it's at the edge. So this is a little bit more functional, as I was definitely outgrowing the little starter base, and now it's just a little bit bigger of a starter base. But I'm guessing this will be the base for the remaining of my season. I do not intend on actually making a base area again, because I'm not a real member. I feel like this is my space, and I'm perfectly fine of living in it, because yeah, most of these chests are still empty, or there's little bits in it. There's definitely enough space, and we can expand it 2 times even. So I'm fine with that. Of course, as you saw me trying, this is my bed disguised as a bench, I guess. And we've got all our utilities and stuff, and these chests are even meant for quickly putting stuff away to be sorted later. I'm spotting a wild BrokeRock member near my base. What are you doing down there? Are you in the sewers? You're getting closer. Really close. And it's going down. But anyway, enough about the starter base. I promised you that we shall have a look at a second thing in this episode. And for that we need to go to Caliecat's base, which isn't really far. Wow. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this gorgeous thing over here. It's a ship. Of course I know it's a ship. Gee. The detail on it. Look at those sails. Why do they look so natural from a distance? That is just ridiculous. Wow. I wish I could build like that. But over here, right next door to the keep, if we follow this path over here, we'll reach a little village that has contained some community builds, like this house over here, and that house, and this is a greenhouse thing with way too much detail. I know that's from Voided and Lost. That is, how do you do this? Like seriously, it's so tiny. and yet you can still go into it and such. Like, look at this door. It's just made of shelves, making it less than a block thick. It works. It works as decorations. It works as an outer wall. Makes this attic feel really tiny, where it otherwise would have been flush with the rest of the building, and making no sense. But now you can actually exit through the glass, pretty much. Just this little crook, and then all the details in here, and again the use of shelves to make walls really thin. Hard some banners and the signs, hanging signs. Thank you. Yes. Look at this. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm being really jealous over here, but well, I couldn't stay out. I also need to contribute over here, and it's right over there. Take a look at my pile of dirt. I'm really proud of it. Of course not. This is a trademark spoiler wall. Because I've built this a little while and wasn't able to make an episode quite yet, so I encased it. And now, of course, it's time to do a twirl or something to actually reveal this thing. Oh, could I do this? Okay, breathe in, breathe out, and in one go. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Ah! Oh, it actually worked. Wow, I did not expect that. Wow, yeah, you're amazed at this too, random brown sheep. So here we go. We've got a little observatory. That's what I called this. That's because of the roof shape it eventually got. And it turned out quite nice, even though I didn't know what I was building half of the time. I just started placing literally a circle on the bottom of this black stone. And then I put up walls, I put up a red roof, I decided on that, and then a black curving, but I wasn't glad with it. It was a little bit, or a lot more pointier. And it had a straight roof, and then I decided to hang this roof more, and then the roof portion was way too much, and so I toned it down, and it became a dome, and I'm actually quite fond of it. And it's even got an interior as well, even though it's the most basic interior we'll ever find. We've got our stove over here and a pressure plate on top. Of course, we need to have some running water over here, although now I think of it, I actually forgot the thing, the nozzle. How would you call it? Maybe I can make it. How does one make such thing? I should have some materials on me, right? I think it has... That will definitely need some sticks. Is it just a stick and an iron? No, how is it even called? Wait, do I need a crafting bench for that? Yes, I do. Oh, it just needs another plank. Okay, we can do that. We can definitely do that. With a crafting bench, which conveniently is placed over there. Now I just need to... There we go. Now we actually got a faucet. I keep calling it a faucet, even though I'm not entirely sure it's called like that. And I guess I'll place you there. Doesn't take too much place. And then let's put that away. And I would just need to grab myself some water, which I should actually have still on me. There we go. Very nice. Don't ask me why I've got that many buckets on me. It will be explained in a future episode. Jeez, all those questions. As I was saying, we've got quite a decent interior over here. We've got our stove, which is now over here with a pressure plate on top. I think that is a nice trick. We've got our running water, now definitely. Over here with our washing bin, I guess crafting bench cannot miss. We've got our staircase leading up. We've got actually a second floor. And a sitting over here, so that nicely besides the window, so you can have a little meal over here. There's even space for a friend. So, and a nice viewing over the rest of the area and the ship even. Look at that. I didn't plan for that, but it's here. We've got a storage barrel over here containing nothing. And actually under the staircase, look at the details. We've got another barrel over here. Nicely in our under the stairs kind of room. And then we've gone upstairs with a window over here. Also looking over Sasquatch, his build. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a wood yard or something. And then we've got our upstairs area, which is entirely in the roof. We've got a nice large bench over here, even though, yeah, let's not take notice of how you can actually not sit on the edge of it and only in the middle. And if you're not careful enough, you're gonna bump your head against the roof. But details. And then we've got a little bed over here. Same principle, really, although this is actually avoiding the edges. We've got a little inaccessible table over there. Accessible chest. This is actually quite practical. And a barrel over there, and then just some protection, as we've got the people on here that take note of whether your staircases are really safe. This staircase is very safe. You can only go by the stairs, and you cannot, well, okay, you technically can, it breaks the lantern, and then you can fall 2 blocks high. Okay, fine. But you're not meant to flip these trapdoors. Builder's code, okay? You don't flip anybody else's trapdoors. Just not. But yeah, I am quite fond of how this turned out. It's not too bad, really. Well, this window over here is a little bit different, not as well looking, but I can't complain. If we're looking to the other builds, I cannot compete that. It's still it's allowed to be here, I think. Yeah. And it's a unique build. That's also what I like of it. It is tiny. Although looking at this, it did grow a little bit more than unexpected. But it's still describe it as tiny. It's just one circle and not a big build like what's behind me a little bit more. And really cramped space, and I love that, because that's what I was aiming for. I was going with that feeling and approaching it a little bit. Didn't want to make too much of a big build. But yeah, with that out of the way, I think that will be it for this episode. In the next episode, which I intend to release next week if all goes well, we will have a look at the first job I did on that I got gifted pretty much on the first day on the server, which I did for Jax and involved a shopfront that he needed. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you'll have to stick out for next episode. Which I promise now will actually be there. I'm going full in, and I'm gonna make a couple of episodes at least. Let's target 5 at the very least, yeah? I would like to beat the highest number of episodes I ever made, which would be somewhere in the 15s, I think, of episode numbers. But let's not dream of incapable dreams. Let's just go it one at a time. And if you like this concept of the episodes, I'm editing them a little bit more lightly, then do let me know in the comments whether this is fine, because that also makes it that I can release episodes a little bit more often. And of course I will try to attempt to make a little bit more on camera, but at the moment I've just got a lot of backlogged items I want to show you guys. So for this episode we're gonna leave it at this. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye for now.